Welcome back. This is the Muzzle Break Podcast. I'm Josh, your host, and I'm here with my co-host, Brian, and our guest, Jonathan Hogue. I appreciate you guys coming in and checking in with us each week. The announcements for this week, July, we will have a one-day rifle course. We'll be here at the shop. It'll be an 8-hour course. Guest appearance by Peter, and hopefully nobody shoots themselves or anything like that on the range, okay?
Not while I'm there.
Check the website on the first page, the schedule page. We'll have that up, and you'll be able to click the link and sign up for that. So it'll be a great time. We're going to just get into it today. Jonathan, I've known you since forever, like T-ball, right? Random people stop in and talk about their service time in the military and things. I always think it's fascinating. You have more experience than most people. You served in Afghanistan for what, one tour?
One tour, 2009. It rolled into 2010.
Okay, so you were there for like 2 years or something like that.
Not like 11 months.
We got the Afghani brothers here today. We'll talk about the two different locations that maybe you guys were at, and we just have a conversation. So, Jonathan, give me some of your backstory, I guess, for the audience, and just kind of why you decided to join the military.
The reason I joined the military is because my brother-in-law, Jared Buchanan, which is now my command sergeant major, we went in 2009, 2010. We were in Afghanistan. We were together.
Why did you join? Like, you joined in your senior year, like delayed entry program?
I wasn't allowed to join until 2008 because I got in trouble because I was camping and I had a fire on state game lands.
You graduated a year after me, so you were 2006, and you had to wait delayed 2 years before you could join. Okay.
Yeah, because I got in trouble because I was camping on state game lands and I had a fire, and he nailed us with littering, a fire, a destruction of property, which was the log that we moved so we could sit on. Mm-hmm. And, he was just doing his job. I understand that.
In the worst kind of way. Yeah.
Well, yeah, but that's what happened. So I joined in 2008. And then 2009, 2010, we were in Afghanistan.
So what was your experience when, 2008 would have been the surge time when they were trying to gather everybody up, and so what was your experience, signing up and going through basic training? There's probably some young guys that are watching this or are anticipating what they're going to get into when they go to basic training. So what was that like experience for you?
So I went for basic training for Fort Jackson, and then after that was over, which Fort Jackson was actually pretty hard. They really pushed us. And then I got shipped off to Fort Sill, Oklahoma for artillery.
That was your MOS at the very beginning when you signed up, was artillery. Okay.
Yep. 13 Bravo. It kind of stunk because the first 3 weeks there was an ice storm in Fort Sill. Mm. So they shut the whole base down. Mm-hmm. There was 6 inches of ice. Mm-hmm. And we couldn't do anything. Mm-hmm. And a commander that said go train, that he would have been liable for everybody. Mm-hmm. And I understand why they shut everything down, because somebody would have got hurt.
Mm-hmm. So how long was your AIT, right?
It should, advanced individual training should have been 6 weeks, but it was only 3. They packed everything in when the ice melted. And we went out to the field and we shot artillery for 3 weeks outside. Mm-hmm. And then, man, was it cold. Mm-hmm. But we still did it.
So after that, you were deployed then to your first duty station at that point?
Yeah. Captain Peters came up to me and he's like, because I was only 20 at the time. Mm-hmm. And he's like, hey, I see that you're enrolled in Clarion. Mm-hmm. And you're supposed to go and do this and stuff like that. And I was like, college ain't for me, because it ain't. Mm-hmm. It's not for everybody, and it definitely wasn't for me.
Yeah, you both kind of have a similar story.
Yeah. And I'm just like, I understand what you're saying, but it's not for me. I want to go overseas with all these guys that I've learned everything from.
You're in the National Guard right now, right?
Yes.
Were you in a National Guard unit at that point in time? Okay, all right. A lot of those guys that were in your unit are also guys that we grew up with here in Western Pennsylvania. That's a rather unusual thing too, right? To get clumped into guys that like growing up. That's kind of unusual.
Yeah, because usually they want to separate us.
Yeah.
Because say me and you were best friends, put us in the same truck, and we get blown up and we all die. And
you got a whole community then that's
you got a whole community of grief.
Mm-hmm. So you get sent to your first duty station. Where was that at?
It was Bagram.
So you didn't spend any time here in the U.S. for a little bit, like staging?
3 months we were in Fort Atterbury.
What was that? That was just staging? You guys just stand up and...
Just getting ready, getting shape for 3 months.
All physical and making sure your equipment was ready.
We went over as infantrymen.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
all
we didn't go over as artillery.
Oh, that's interesting. And how did that happen?
They already had an artillery unit over there, and I think they were 4 or 5 months in. Okay. So they had 6 months left. Okay. And there was already another unit training to go replace them. So we went over as 11 Bravo.
Okay. You flew straight to Bagram, or was it a nonstop flight, or did you stop somewhere for a couple of days, or no?
Well, you know what? I think I drank a little bit too much NyQuil.
On the plane?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think we went to Bangor, Maine, and then we started there.
You went to Bagram Air Base.
That's when we went to Bagram. Well, it might have been Kyrgyzstan.
Kyrgyzstan, okay.
But it was awesome. And
why was it awesome?
Because it was just, everybody was happy. Okay. Everybody was like happy to see us and stuff like that. And I didn't spend a dime. Then we went to Bagram.
You landed in Bagram too, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So like most everybody landed in Bagram. So you get off the tarmac, and what's your first thoughts when you got off the plane?
These mountains are crazy.
Yeah, well, I know you. I know how he reacts to stuff, but what did you think whenever you're?
I want to go for a walk.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
that was pretty cool.
I wanted to skedaddle.
Yeah,
I wanted to be like, oh man, there's so much to look at.
Yeah,
but
so then they
couldn't.
Yeah, so they took you in process and whatever, and then they said, okay, were you there for very long, or did they have you ready to go? Because there's a lot more urgency, like between the time that you went and he went there. There's like what, 4 years or something like that. You're 2009. You were 2001.
You left in 10. Mm-hmm. I came in 11.
Okay, all right. So there's a couple years difference.
Within a week, they got us on a bigger helicopter, mm-hmm. and we went to Jalalabad, and then we got on a smaller helicopter. Mm-hmm. Then we went to Asadabad.
Okay.
That's where my fob was.
Okay.
Fob right.
Okay.
And that's where we hung out. There was 62 of us. And then I usually stayed in the mountains.
Okay.
Because I'd volunteer for that, because that's where I think I belong.
There was like a forward observer post or something like that on that. Okay. You show me some pictures of like you're in this little hut with this monkey or whatever. So mm-hmm. up on the mountainside. So how many people were there that stayed with you typically? And how long would you stay there?
8. And we'd stay for 7 days.
Okay. So a week at a time. No.
Yeah, a week at a time.
Was it like a week on, week off, or?
Yeah, I'd stay up there for a week. We'd come down from the mountain when our replacements came up, and we'd get showered, shaved, mm-hmm. and all that stuff. And then we'd go on a mechanical mission. We'd get close to the Korengal Valley, mm-hmm. and would drop off supplies because we didn't have helicopters to drop them to them.
Okay.
So they would meet us, and we'd give them everything they need.
So why were they making you do these supply runs versus like a helicopter or something like that?
Shot out of the sky.
Well, that's what I'm. Yeah, I'm leading the question a little bit, Brian. I kind of gathered that, but I just let him.
They did not want a helicopter shot.
Okay. So that was fairly problematic there.
Yes.
Okay.
So we would go and give them what they needed.
Okay.
Because they didn't want to get a $3 million Apache shot down.
So
or Chinook.
You said at one point too you were kind of connected to like an Army Corps of Engineers unit or something or a Seabees unit or some kind of building unit at one point.
Yes.
What were they attached to your fob, or?
We were there to go and build schools and bridges, and the Taliban didn't really like that because we were building schools for women and children and stuff like that, and they didn't like that. So we'd get a school built, and in the next 2 days destroyed.
So you guys were like pulling guard duty basically for them. Is that what?
Tried. They would just mortar it and they would blow it up, and all for naught.
Was that more your normal day mission, was to like go out and pull guard duty for them, and
Yes.
then you'd come back to your little hut?
We'd all circle around, protect the area while the engineers did their pencil stuff. And then it would get built. Everything would be fine. We'd go back to the base, mission successful. The next day, it'd be rubble.
Since the Taliban was probably keeping tabs on what was going on with that mission, was there any type of like harassment that you guys would get, directed fire or anything like that during the building, or was it just typically like after?
While we were on these missions, we definitely got harassed. But the only time that we ever really got shot at, we were going to the Korengal to drop off supplies. There was a school that was across a river. That is when we actually got shot at.
What was that like, I guess? Were you set up to like control a perimeter or something like
Yes.
that, or you were like
Well,
still in a column, like going to do this, and then you got ambushed?
We were in a column.
Okay.
There was no perimeter because there was mountains all around it. They went over to inspect it, the engineers and stuff like that. That's when he ran across the bridge.
Well, just tell that whole story if you can. Yeah.
All right. Well, I was driving, and Tanner Edwards was the gunner that day, and we had 16 trucks lined up. We had the Afghani army and us. We couldn't get over there because it was just a bridge to a valley, and that's what.
Perfect ambush spot.
Oh, yeah. It was. We should have never been there. It was awful. I don't know who was in charge of that, but one of the engineers, they were getting shot at. I guess he was up in the corner, and he goes, "I don't believe in guns." And someone threw a gun at him and says, "Trust me, they're real."
yeah.
And then we called in helicopter support, and the Kiowas came in and blew them all up. They didn't want schools there, and they were mad about it.
So you guys had to come back across that bridge, correct?
Yes, the
Okay.
kids did.
Well, and but you guys
I
did
was
too.
not.
No, okay.
I was already across. I was already in a vehicle.
Okay, but Sammy was.
Sammy was. He was the last one across, and I expect that out of a person like him because he's wonderful. If you were to have anybody in your corner, it'd be Sammy. Everybody was moving tactical, you know how you're supposed to, and he came running across like he was chasing a pheasant through a field with a shotgun.
It was on fire. Huh?
Yeah, his ass was on fire, and he went 100 mile an hour across that bridge, and it was just hilarious.
While people were shooting at him.
While people were shooting at him, you saw the bullets hitting the river and everything, but he did a good job. Everybody did a good job. It was just scary because I didn't want my friends getting hurt,
Sure.
but they made it across and everything was fine.
So can we go through kind of what happened, like how you ended up getting Purple Heart and stuff?
We were going north, and we were taking ammo and stuff like that. They were way out there.
They're another fob.
Another fob.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
forward operating base. And they were way up there. We had 4 trucks, and we heard a gunshot just in the air. That's like a telltale sign. Hey,
Yeah, something's
they're on
going to
the
go
way.
down. Right.
And we're like, oh, Christ.
Was this a normal scheduled thing for you guys to resupply them?
Not them.
This wasn't something that they picked up as far as like you guys do this every 2 weeks or something like that, and you know we need to wait for them or
Correct.
whatever. Okay.
No, it wasn't normal. Because normally a helicopter comes and drops shit off to them, but they couldn't that week. So we went out there, and I'm like, guys, keep your eyes peeled. Something's going on.
Well, what vehicles were you traveling in? Like
MRAP.
MRAPs? Okay. All right.
We were in MRAPs. MR10. Yeah.
They were the heavier armored.
Yeah,
MRAPs.
armored turtles. After the gunshot, we went about 2 football fields, and boom.
Were you in the lead vehicle or?
No, we were the third vehicle.
Okay.
And all I could see was the river. And I'm like, oh no. And I grabbed Levi Day. He was my chief at the time. I grabbed him. I was like, dude, we're going into the drink. Because I thought we were going to roll into the river. But luckily, we just went up and over.
Was it an IED that hit you, or what was it?
They estimated at 250-pound IED.
So how did it miss the trucks in front of you? Like they just like drove around it, or?
Why would you blow up the front truck or
Okay,
the
so
back
this was
truck?
this was like a manually operated.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't a pressure plate type of
No.
IED. This was like they were waiting.
It was a 9-volt battery that set off 2 155 shells with lamp cords. I think it was 65 lamp cords
That they had plugged in together.
that they put together, and then they touched it when
Holy
we
shit.
drove over it.
Wow.
And it went down 300 yards
Wow.
and then blew us up. The whole front went. The Mark 19 went in the river. I don't even think they recovered that. So there's a Mark 19 in Afghanistan if you want it. It's somewhere. Somebody has it. I mean, the vehicle did its job. I'm thankful it did. Nobody died.
All right.
Peacock he needed assistance because he was the gunner. He took the
brunt of the force.
yeah. He was outside of the hatch.
Oh, okay.
And he took the brunt of it. He
Okay.
got knocked out.
Yeah,
he
I'm
got
sure.
he got hit hard. That was a big blast.
So, but there wasn't any further action from the Taliban at that point. Like they didn't start opening up fire or anything like that. They just blew up he and walked away is essentially what you're saying.
Thankfully, none of that happened because we were very vulnerable. We were the only vehicle that got blown up, and we had 4 with us. Everybody dismounted and secured the perimeter. They don't fight fair. That's why I don't think we got shot at, because everybody dismounted and there was guns everywhere. After I woke up, we were all going up the hill following that cord. Yeah, it could have been a trick, but it probably not. And there wasn't. And we followed lamp cord all the way up over, and everybody was gone. No one shot at us after that. It was a little tricky. We called for the wrecker. They came, scooped up all of our blown up stuff. Then we went to Pirtle King, stayed there for 2 days. Oh, well, they did.
You got evac.
I got evac.
Where did you go for your evac?
Bagram.
Oh, you went back to Bagram.
Yeah,
Okay.
I went back to Bagram. I stayed there for 3 days. I got on a small helicopter and went back to Jalalabad and then Asadabad.
You were there for 2 weeks, and then what happened at that?
Everything was normal. And then I went to the mountains for a week, and they said, hey, do you want to go out for another mission? I said, sure. So I went, and I got shot in the arm.
Tell me how that day played out, I guess. What was the mission first?
It's just a presence. There was no mission. It was just a presence mission.
Into a town, or what were
We
you
went
guys
through
doing?
Asadabad. Say, this is our truck, and this is the route. This is yellow. This is red. This is green. We go through here, and we say, hey, we're at yellow. They send artillery and blow up all around us.
Okay. So it's like a show of force.
Yes.
Okay.
And we blow up everything around us. The green, they do the same thing. So we did that, and then on the way back, they didn't do that. And that's when bullet went through the glass and hit me in the arm.
Was it a big ambush, or was it just
No.
like somebody was just like, I can see him through the window, and I'm
Correct.
just going to take a shot at him?
No, we were getting shot at pretty good. It was an ambush. They wanted to try to do things, so we called in artillery, and that was the end of that.
So interesting, though, that like it went through. Was it plexiglass that you guys had on your vehicle, or was it wasn't bulletproof or anything?
it was
just-
bulletproof glass.
Okay.
I don't know what kind of round it was,
Okay.
but it burnt.
It burnt.
Oh yeah,
So what was your thought as you got shot?
I didn't feel that.
No.
Now. And then
So you guys kept driving, and then you're like, "Oh fuck! I got a shot through my bicep."
Yes.
Right, it's through your bicep, correct?
yeah, right here. I had no idea.
Your arm must have been up or something like that. There wasn't anything like ricocheting in the cab or anything like that.
No,
Holy fuck!
I have no idea. I don't remember anything.
Did you pass out at that point,
No.
or no? Okay.
No, I just did what I was supposed to do, but I don't remember what happened.
Did you guys dismount at that point, or did you just kept like trying to get out of?
We couldn't have.
Okay.
Because if we could, if we dismounted, then we'd be all exposed.
Sure.
Because there was a river between us.
Okay.
They were shooting across from the river,
Okay.
so there was nothing we could do.
Okay.
Except shoot back.
Okay.
And blow the whole side up.
Okay.
So that's what we did.
Did you guys call in artillery and air support at that point?
Air support.
Or okay.
No artillery
Okay.
because the hillside was too close.
You fight back, and then they disperse, and you just head back to the fob, and that
That's
was
it.
it. That was it. That was
That's
the end
it.
of the day. Okay.
I just wanted
Interesting.
fruit. That's all I wanted. Honeydew and cantaloupe. That's all I
It was
craved.
pretty readily available in Afghanistan.
Yeah, it was there.
Okay.
Yeah, it was there.
Did they have to do any like repairing surgeries or anything like that to you? They just
Not on my
like-
arm. No.
Okay. Interesting.
No, it just sutured it up.
So was that close to the end of your time there, or did they evac you to? I mean, once you
June
get injured,
6th.
so once you get injured though, they evac you, right?
I didn't go anywhere for that.
Okay, interesting.
They got rid of the thing, and because it hit the bone. And
it did. Okay,
and
interesting.
then they pulled it out and stitched it up, and that was it.
You weren't like, let
No.
me keep that.
Oh, I have it. It's somewhere. I don't know where I put it.
At what point was this in your tour?
Yeah, our tour was done. They came in with the new guys that they thought they knew everything. And
Sure. Good luck.
Yeah. Well, we didn't say that. I mean, we tried our best to tell them, like, hey, this is what you shouldn't do. This is what you should do.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, they taught us. All of us were like, well, hold on a second. Don't do that.
Yeah.
And then about 2 weeks after we got home, we heard that their sergeant major stepped on a landmine. Ugh. And we were like, don't go there.
Yeah,
and he did.
He did.
He was like, oh, we're taking everybody. Don't pin me on landmine. Mm-hmm. I think he got hurt.
Sure.
He got hurt by bad people.
Yeah.
That's what happened.
Uh-huh.
And it happened, because he didn't listen to us. Because he thought he was going to scour the mountains and stuff. And it's like, dude, these aren't your mountains.
Right.
These are not your mountains.
Yeah. Well, like Afghanistan is like one of those places where they say empires go to die, is what Afghanistan's been known for. Like for, centuries. They say, empires go to die in Afghanistan. Rome was there. Everybody tried to take them over. There's Khyber Pass is a freaking terrible place. You never touched a piece of artillery when you were over in country.
Well, no, we did, because there was 777s, 155 millimeter rounds. They're big guns. They were stationary pieces. Like, they didn't want them to move. We had them on our base. Sometimes those guys got tired because there was missions going everywhere.
I gotcha.
And they had to rotate and shoot everywhere. And we knew what we were doing. So we would go over and be like, hey, go take a nap.
Yeah. How did you end up with a monkey, by the way?
I wanted to be in the mountains. I wanted to be up in the FOBs. Bull Run is what it was called. Forward Operating Base Bull Run. There was this kid to my right, about 100 yards away, and he was dragging this monkey up the mountain by its neck with a chain. And I said, hey, get over here. And they're Americanized. He comes over and he's like, yes, sir. I said, give me that monkey. And he goes, $200. I said, I'll give you $5. He goes, okay. I named him Jack. Genius. He could have done better on a field artillery crew than some of the kids that I've dealt with.
What happened to him after you left? Did you give him to somebody else?
I sold him to the governor of Kunar province. Nice. He had a nice thing. Green grass, trees everywhere. It was like a
little oasis.
Yeah, like a little complex.
Yeah.
And that's where he went. So I'm guessing he's dead now. But it seemed like a pretty nice place for him to be.
Yeah.
But cool. Yeah, the governor bought him for $250 or something like that.
He was your buddy for the time when you were there.
Yeah, he sat on my backpack and held on to that little strap. And every time weird shit started happening, I could just feel him. He'd be on my ear. He'd be like, this ain't good. This ain't good, dude.
Yeah. It's hilarious. Well, Brian, do you have any questions? It's Brian question segment.
No,
you always had no questions. All right. Yeah. Well, I appreciate you stopping in, John, and pinch hitting on this episode. I always appreciate you stopping in and talking. So,
of course.
Thanks for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed the show, and we'll be back next week with another one.